Hi, I'm Lisanne Miller with W. Cushing and Company, and this is April's third Thursday with Lisanne in conjunction with Rug Hooking Magazine. Also, I wanted to show you this is not the current issue of Rug Hooking Magazine, but to let you know you have to get the current issue because I've sold out. It has a beautiful scene with cherry blossoms and a boat on top, and this has the puppy issue, or how to make a rug pattern from photographs. The other features our new column, the same but different, but we've sold out. So make sure you go to rughookingmagazine.com, go to the website, go to the Rug Hooking Magazine community, and get your copy because they're going very quickly. Well, today is Paisley Day. We're going to break this into two parts because I could talk to you for about 6 hours, and I don't think you want to hear it for 6 hours. So the first part is talking about Paisleys. Next month, I'm going to actually dye a cutter Paisley. So let's talk a little bit about Paisleys. I've been collecting Paisleys since I was out of high school. This is just a small smattering of Paisleys that we have. Some are for sale, some aren't. We're going to go about how to hook with Paisleys or how to prep to hook with Paisleys and what not to pass up on a Paisley. So the first thing I want to talk about is this. This is actually a Paisley. It is an Indian or Persian Paisley. It does have two sides. It's been washed and felted, and it is woven, but not woven the same way as the antique Paisleys. This is more of a pashmere, but an early pashmere Paisley. I love the color in it. It is too good to be a cutter. So what is a cutter? A cutter is a Paisley that has seen better days. And then with the holes, etc., it's okay to cut. Paisleys are no longer being made in the traditional sense. The looms are all gone. The master craftsmen are all gone. So if you wanted to, you could cut this Paisley. I find it too pretty. I've been wearing it since it is spring colors, and we still have snow today in Maine in April. But you can use it. It is wool. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. I like it. It's pretty. If you were to cut it, it is thick. Okay, it is a little bit thicker. It's not quite a boiled wool, but it is like a felted wool. But if you were to hook with it, that is what it would look like. Pretty, but I really do like wearing it. So, the second thing is, what about Paisleys? There's long shawls, there's short shawls. Every Paisley tells a story. You have to read your Paisley, or I can read it for you. It's like reading tea leaves. There are Scottish Paisleys, there are French Paisleys, there are British Paisleys. Paisleys were made to order. They were made based on color choices, on wealth of a family, on occasion for the Paisley. Birth, marriage, anniversary. These Paisleys were used, and they're beautiful. They are all wool. So the difference between the first Paisley that I showed you and this Paisley is you can see the weave. So here is the weave, and here is the weave this way. So what you never want to do is cut it across the threads. You want to cut it with the weave so that you don't get the fraying. And that's very important. You have to look at the back. Now this Paisley may appear to be very bright. It is a British Paisley. Okay, it is a British Paisley. It's from the early 1900s. The white is muddled. It's not an expensive Paisley. It's not a clear white. And if you look at the center, it has a huge, huge center in it. Huge amount of black. First of all, black was the most common. Second, when it's a huge center and the gates are not in good shape, and I'll show you what the gates are in a minute, this means they didn't have the wealth. They were not wealthy. They didn't have enough to make the whole thing a Paisley. But everybody negates this black. This black is also wool. It can be cut and hooked, and it looks like when you mix it with blues and greens, it fills in for an antique black, makes a great outline. Don't discard the center if you have a cutter, okay? So, here is what a gate is. These are not expensive gates. These are really not gates at all. It is hand done. Everything is hand done for it. But these are not true traditional gates. So this is what we would call a lesser paisley. But it is a long shawl, and it is British. Okay? Pretty. Not a cutter. Not a cutter, but pretty. All right. This paisley here, again, has a big center. Again, it's British. No cream or white with it. Here's your turquoise in it. Somewhat of what that appears to be a gate, not really a gate. It is hand fringed. So again, a lesser paisley, not as from a predominant family, but still gorgeous. It is a long shawl. You can use these as tablecloths. You can use these as the base for around your Christmas trees. You can wear it with a shawl pin. These are just beautiful. All right, the next one, now this, look at the color difference automatically, okay? Here's the color difference. The color difference in this one is the browns, the oranges, again, the muddled whites. It's British, not Scottish, not French, okay? The gates are a little bit more ornate, as you can tell. The gates were the guide for the weaver on the colors. And you can see the hand fringing and what the colors are. Beautiful, soft colors. Now, what makes this so unique is two things. Number one, there is no center. It was woven as a shawl in the pattern. There is no center. There is nothing there that would be a center. This was a wealthier family, but it is a double weave. They are rare to find. When you find them, and even if they're a cutter, I don't know if I would cut it up. You see there is no lines like I've showed you before. This is a double weave. It doesn't have the lines. If it was a cutter, it would fray less than a traditional paisley. This is a double weave paisley. I love the color palette in the double weaves. Sometimes they're a little thicker. This happens to be a good medium weight. The color waves are just beautiful in a double weave. For some reason, they're more muted. They have beautiful olive greens and browns and golds in them. So this is a double weave paisley. Here's your next level of gates. Again, not really ornate gates, but gates. Okay. Here we go. This is a paisley. This is a cutter. Here's what I mean about a cutter. There's holes throughout. You can see it's not a double weave. We're not going to cut across these threads. We're going to cut with the weave. This color wave was very unique. It is either French or Scottish. I believe it is French. It's only a piece. This is only a piece. But if you notice the cream center, I wanted to bring this out to show you the cream center. Most likely this was a wedding or a baptismal paisley. It was most likely French. It could be British because of the deeper burgundy, but I'm leaning more towards that it is French. It's either French or British. It is not Scottish. Okay? And it is a beautiful, beautiful colored paisley. It is ruined. It is a cutter. Again, not great. The hand-tied fringe is gone. These are the gates. So when you get something like this is a pure cutter. When it comes to you, the first thing you have to do, no matter where you get it from, is put it in a big Ziploc bag. And put it in your big Ziploc bag and put it in your freezer or your deep freeze for at least a week. I usually leave mine 2 to 3. Don't let company open your freezer because they get a little freaked out by it, but it's okay. And then when you take it out, this has killed any moths, insect eggs, or anything that may be lying in it, and it's now ready to go. If you want it in a tighter weave, you can gently wash it. I do not put them in the washing machine. I will wash them in the sink by hand with hot water, and sometimes if they're really dirty, a little bit of Joy dish detergent, because it has no petroleum products. And the turquoise on the back of this is just lovely. I love this for vintage Santas, different things, a different motif, very ornate near the center. So if you don't know or you can't remember how to cut your paisley, here's what you do. Where you have the hole, okay, where you have the hole, you see how it tears. Which way is this going to tear, okay? Is it going to tear one way or the other? Well, where's it going to tear on the straight? Okay? It's going to tear with it. It is tearing with it, and you come just like this. A good paisley will rip just like good wool, okay? And that's how you know you're on the right path. Yes, this is a little bit fray, but when you go to cut it, if you cut it with your cutter, and we'll get into that in a minute or two, you put it face down, okay? You cut it this way. Number one, it's your guide to keep going this way. You cut it a size larger than you want it, and it doesn't fray as much, okay? So that's how you can tell where you need to go when you have a pure cutter paisley such as this. But it is a beautiful, beautiful paisley. It was at one point. This is also a paisley. Again, not very wealthy, wanted a long shawl, no gates at all. And here's your paisley right here. That's all the paisley there was on this whole piece. The other end is the same, okay? They did not even go down, they just went down the short sides. You can tell it was milled correctly. If you were to cut it, you would cut it this way and get very little paisley out of it. But this is also a paisley. Don't discard it that it is not. This is an interesting piece. This came to me in a grouping of other paisleys. It is a paisley. It is woven, okay? As you can see, it is woven like the other paisleys, but this is a much later generation. I consider it probably before they stopped making them. They decided to go with this. It's got wool, but it also feels a little stiff synthetic, and it has not been washed. There is hand-done fringe, but hand-done fringe, but no gates. So done later on, much later on, 1900s, 1920s. Again, beautiful work, but not an authentic vintage paisley. Here's another one. This is an interesting one. This is a cutter, okay? This has interesting colors throughout it, okay? No real gates, and we'll get to one with real gates shortly. It was woven, as you can see, in the traditional way, but again, a much earlier one. And since this is a cutter, it's a great one. When you get ones like this, these are great ones to try if you've never used a paisley, and you can play with it, see if you like it. It would work beautifully. It's a beautiful color to use as an outline, but again, a much later generation of a paisley. And how can you tell that? This is an authentic paisley, again with a bigger center, not as big as some of the others, but look at the color difference. Look at the brilliance. You can see the difference immediately. Look at the detail. Look how this swerves. There's a lot more to it. The brown. Now, this white is not muddled. This is a Victorian paisley. Queen Victoria loved this color in her paisleys. This is not muddled. This is a richer paisley. So, as I say to you, every paisley tells its story if you're willing to look at it closely and read it. It's not as good as reading tea leaves, but close. Look at the gates. This has a lot less black, a lot more gate. Here's your white again, your hand-done fringe. You can see how fine the details are. Much wealthier. The white is much clearer. This is a very, very good paisley. And it's not as big. It is not really a long shawl, but woven to tightly woven, expertly woven. The weaver on this one was very, very good, or weavers. There's usually more than one weaver. And when there's more than one weaver, sometimes you'll get one half of it done one way and one half another. And that means Leroy, who came in on Saturday, did not get what Jacob left on Friday and changed it around. Okay, here is another paisley, another excellent paisley. You can see the gates, okay? You can see the white. This has very swooping, very much. It has swooping paisleys in it. This is a Victorian era paisley. This is the bigger paisleys. The white is there. So here it is. Look how small this center is. This person had wealth. They did use a black center. There is not a white or red center. Yes, they come in white and red. The white here, look at the white, very predominant, very beautiful, not muddled like we saw before. So again, your gates are here. Very, very lovely, very brilliant. I'm going to get up because I have more on the rack. And yes, this is a small smattering of what we have, what we don't have, what we have in stock, what we have put away as well. This is a red center, as you can tell. Again, they paid for the red center, but they didn't have a small center. Here you are, muddled, not as sharp and clean. Okay, nice colors though, nice gates. Look at the mustard in there. Very lovely, but again, not as crisp and clean as this. So a lesser weaver. Okay, the next one, that's what I'm looking for. The next one, I want to show you what a small center looks like laid out. Here is a very, very small center. Okay, very small center, brilliant white, kind of muddled, but still beautifully done. The white is nice here, but it's muddled. So a medium value. Gates are okay, again, muddled. And it's not that they're dirty. It's just that they were not using the finer threads like in this one. So you can immediately start to see the differences. And that's the key. Big center, little center. Is it a cutter? Is it not? Now look at this one. This is more reds and oranges. Again, muddled. But still beautiful. Still very, very beautiful. Longer stitches, longer weave. And this is just a piece of a paisley. It must have had an interesting center at some point. It had an oval center, which means it was a middle class of some wealth. It was a different center. Now this beauty is definitely a long shawl. Okay, they did not pay for the center. Look how much is here. The paisleys are intermixed. Again, a little bit more muddled design. This is a cutter naturally. But look at the swooping paisleys at the end. The gates are, not great, but good. Okay. Lovely colors of brown. And it doesn't matter whether you like it or whether the value of it. It's if it's a cutter and it's colors that you like to hook with, then it's good. If it's not a cutter and you want to use it, then it should be colors you like. Now, this was a weaver's defect. Okay? This is a weaver's defect. Okay? Something happened with the loom. This would happen if I were weaving it, most likely. And something didn't work right. Something jumped. The bobbin, something jumped when they were weaving it. It is a defect. And that defect actually wore. And there's the defect there. So it's not that it wore out. It's not that it was trying to be fixed, although somebody did try and stitch it together. This was a weaving defect, okay? And you find these, it's just like everything. There's, there was second, so to speak, first quality, second quality, whatever you would like. The last one, and then we're going to go over how it's hooked and how to get it ready to hook, is this one. At first appearance, you think this is a fabulous paisley, till you put it next to this one. Precise, not as precise. Very muddled. Big gates, but not woven very well. A good paisley, but definitely later in life, okay? But a great, and it's got a small center. So the small center is lovely, it comes into it, but it's not as finely woven as some others. So there we go. So there's the Paisleys for today. And then I want to show you, you can hook with Paisleys. And everybody says, well, Paisleys are hairy, Paisleys are this. This rug was not made yesterday, as we can tell. Okay, this rug is part of our collection. All what you see here is Paisley. As you can see from the back, it's not that hairy. You can see some of it, but not that hairy. She used different Paisleys. I love to use different Paisleys. It's almost like shading with dyed wool. You can see the different colors, but these things are not popping out. The reason is she, first of all, she hooked it low. Second of all, she did fold it, okay? So this is hooked small. In this piece here, in the Burnham, okay, so in the Burnham, it is hairier. I didn't fold it, it's a wider cut, but as you can see, this has been on the floor. It's not wearing that badly, but it is very hairy on the back because I didn't fold it, okay? So it is a hairy, it can be very hairy, and that's why a lot of people don't like it. But there is a way to avoid that, and we're going to go over that right now. So I have my scissors, okay, if I need them. I like to hand cut. I'm a hand cutter when it comes to the Paisleys. And so I'm going to turn it over here, and you can see it's kind of, this one is not as hairy. It's not as long a stitch, okay? But I'm going to cut it. I'm not going to put it through the cutter. I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to hand cut it with the stitches, with the long stitches. I'm cutting it in about a 7, not quite an 8, okay? And when you learned how to hand cut, when I first learned how to rug hook, I hand cut most of my wool. And I actually hooked this rug with Pendleton skirts. I wish I still had it. And I hand cut every piece of it. Didn't hand cut this one though. Okay, so here we are. First, you test its strength. It's good. It's getting a little hairy, but when I go to hook with it, I am going to fold it over just like that, okay? And I'm going to keep it like that as I hook. Now, that's if you want a very, very small line to it. And you can see you hold it like that and you hook it, okay? If you're used to using bigger cuts, then we go a little bit bigger, 8.5 maybe, and I'm going to cut this one. Yes, I could rip it, but ripping it makes it, this is a ripped edge. See how it's very hairy already? By hand cutting it, or you can cut it in your cutter, but I do recommend hand cutting, okay? We're going to come down to here, just like that. Cut it off. A little bit wider, and now I'm going to fold it again, so I get a wider look to it. You can roll it. I don't recommend rolling it like a braid, but I do recommend doing that, because as you pull it up, it's not fraying. See that? You may get 1 or 2 frays you can nip off, but the cue is on the bottom, it's going to stay in. So as you're working your paisley, you're going to fold it and hook with it, and you'll get a lot less fraying to it. And you can nip the little strings off here and there. It won't hurt it. Okay? And then you pull it up as normal. You can cut it even wider and fold it a little more. It's up to you and what you're comfortable with. So, that ends the first part of our paisleys. I hope that you will look at your paisleys that you have with a new eye. I hope you've enjoyed it. And then next month, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a cutter paisley and we're gonna dye it in the dye kitchen. And we're gonna dye it to deepen the colors or change the colors a little bit. We're not gonna dye it turquoise or hot pink, but we're gonna use some of our colors like khaki drab or taupe, maybe even black walnut, not sure yet. And we're gonna put it in there, and once you dye it, it will tighten it up as well, and you won't have as many flyaways. So, I hope you've enjoyed it. Go look at your paisleys, and happy paisley hunting. Bye for now.